In my previous video, I spoke about the misconception that stronger sanctions may bring about the end of the Iranian regime. And today I want to talk about the same misconception, but in the case of Gaza. So there is this Western theory that individualism and freedom are the antidote to tyranny. And in the case of most societies, it's the opposite. The idea that a democratic form society will lead people away from radicalism is the absolute opposite of what actually happens. And I think this is the reason why the post-World War I mandates didn't achieve the desired result, which is creating countries that are similar to Europe in Africa and the Middle East. And that is why, in a way, Soviet colonialism was more successful, because the Soviets were intuitively they understood it better. So basically, the danger of a new mandate of Palestine is that they will try to import the Western ideas of individualism, of freedom, in the hopes that it will de-radicalize society. It will do the opposite. Mass movements don't rise as a response to lack of freedom. They arise when people have freedom that they don't know what to do with. There's this famous Nazi saying, we want freedom from freedom. You know, freedom for many people is a burden. They won't say it like that, but they much prefer the equality and the feeling of brotherhood, of being a part of a big family, a tribe, some well-organized group. Then you say, okay, you're on your own. I'm cutting you away from your society, from your family, from your principles. You are completely free. Do what you want. For them, this freedom is boredom, is how should I put it? It's lack of fulfillment, because it places a mirror in front of them and they don't like what they see in this mirror. They compare themselves with other people. That's not good. So if they push Gaza in the direction of a competitive free society, that in turn will push people in the direction of Islamism and radical socialism and various militant mass movements. For example, if we look at Germany, I don't think that Nazism rose as a result of the defeat in World War I and the hardships that followed. Nazism arose as a result of the Weimar Republic. It gave a very structured, very hierarchical society a lot of freedom. And people didn't know what to do with this freedom. They didn't ask for it. And they wanted someone to tell them what to do. They were frustrated. They were bored. They were anxious. And that gave rise to a mass movement which found a place for them, which said, okay, your traditional societal structure was broken, but here's a new hierarchy. We have a place for every man, and every man will have a place. Most people prefer to be employees, not employers, especially in a traditionalist, conservative, patriarchal society. And from what I saw of people in the West talking about the restoration of Gaza, they are talking about making it, like trying to do what they did in Iraq, what they did in Afghanistan, and it didn't work then, and it won't work now. October 7th wasn't a reaction to Israeli oppression. It was a reaction to the lack of oppression. It wasn't a reaction to stronger Israeli attacks. It was a reaction to weaker Israeli attacks. What makes people revolutionary is not abject poverty. If you're struggling for food, you're not revolutionary. What makes people revolutionary is when their quality of life increases, but not as quickly as they would like. So this combination of a rising quality of life, of individual freedom, and of less restrictions will almost certainly push most Gazans in the direction of more radicalism, not less radicalism. So what can you do? I think the most important thing is to understand that for people from such a society, the appeal of a free democratic society is far less effective than the idea of equality and the feeling of brotherhood. So what you have to offer them is united action, is action as a group. You don't need to talk to each Gazan, you need to talk to Gaza. And unfortunately, I don't think that using the clans will work because everyone was scattered. It's like one of the reasons Europe, modern Europe, became so susceptible to various mass movements is because Europe was scattered. Also, like due to World War II, the bombings, the camps, the invasions, but also due to the industrial revolution and later, women in the workplace, feminism. So this structure was broken. People became atomized. They became free. And for a lot of people, freedom is a wonderful thing. They're creative. They can create things. They can get rich. But a lot of people don't know what to do with it. And that leads to frustration. And when someone is frustrated and doesn't have the answer to their frustration within themselves, they look for it outside. And that's what makes people join these radical movements because they're frustrated. And when I go over what Tony Blair and Trump want to do in Gaza, I see them leading the people of Gaza to eventually towards the same kind of frustration, instead of trying to create those cohesive units which will be stable. So in this regard, Soviet colonialism, which did try to preserve those units and work with those units, because the Russians in a way are like that themselves. They are more collectivist society, not just because of ideology, but also because of their history and because of their national identity. So if you want to prevent people moving towards some kind of radicalism again, you need to create those strong, well-defined and cohesive units, which will be relatively autonomous. And then maybe people won't be pushed in the direction of radicalism because they will be fulfilled by being a part of something. The worst thing you can do is to increase the quality of life and introduce freedom too quickly. That will 100% lead to increased radicalization. So I hope I'm not the only one who had this thought. I'm inspired by a wonderful American philosopher named Eric Hoffer. If you haven't read his book, True Believer, I recommend it. I cannot recommend it enough. It's an amazing book. And I really hope that Trump, Tony Blair, and Bibi will give it a thought as well. Anyway, let's hope for the best. And bye-bye. Shalom.